money. We'll see. We'll see what you can do for us.
State sure as heck can't manage it, that's for sure.
Funny.
So.
Yeah, so Larissa, Jason, and Kahan, whenever you guys are ready to start, I guess I'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
Absolutely.
Great,
And thank you. Thanks for having us, everyone. So I always try to keep things as casual as possible. It's a little bit more challenging just on WebEx. But please, as we're talking, jump in with questions. So we're going to be talking about the Financial Risk Management 4+1 program, which essentially is you graduate from UConn, get this MS degree in 1 year. There are a ton of advantages that, again, we'll get into, but namely 1 year for a degree, waived courses is less money, and it's hard to come back to school. So if you know you're interested in a field, once you're out in the workforce and you're making money and your mind just is on other things, it's tough to come back. So we are really happy that we're able to provide this opportunity and this program for current UConn students and support our fellow Huskies. So my name is Larissa. I'm the Associate Director of Risk Management Programs. On this call, we also have Jason, who's our career advisor. He'll introduce himself. Kahan, who is alum of the 4+1 program, and Sahil, who is a current student in the FRM program. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves as well? Jason, you first.
Perfect, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Larissa. I'm going to apologize first off if I seem to be buffering a little bit. My internet has been flawless like since March. It's been perfect, but today we seem to be having a little issues. So I'll apologize in advance if that were to happen. So I work within the career services team, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about really why I think the FRM program is worth it. Put it that way. What the big advantages are, and just a little taste of it. It's really what you're going to be qualified for in terms of your career opportunities after graduation. So that's really going to be the big draw and something that I'd like to talk to you about. And just a little bit. Kahan?
Hello, everyone. I'm Kahan. As Larissa mentioned, I'm the alum for 4+1 program. Also, as she mentioned, I didn't want to come back to school once I started working. So that was the main reason I joined the 4+1 program. I learned more about it. It honestly was a great experience, and I'm currently working, but it was like amazing in COVID. It was like a very smooth transition to online classes. Yeah, I'll tell you more about it as it comes up. And if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know.
God, can you just tell them a little bit about what you're doing now?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I am working with London Stock Exchange Group as an index analyst. So basically, that involves working with bonds and like taking client requests and modifying the fixed income indexes as and when. So I'm still in the training phase, but soon I'll be handling one of the indexes for them. And whatever the requests are of the clients, as per that, I'll be managing the index accordingly.
Thanks. And Sayal, if you're able to, you can introduce yourself. I see you jumping on and off, so I'm assuming there's some internet issues. Or I can briefly introduce you. Let me just introduce. So essentially, he is a current student. He is in his 4th semester. So the program is typically 4 semesters. For 4+1, it's 3. And he's actually going to be staying on for our 5th semester, all of which I will get into. And he'll sort that out. Altogether, I think we'll be able to answer any and all of your questions. So let me get started. I'm going to share my screen, but please still do jump in with any questions. Just unmute yourself, because when we do this type of thing in In person, it's very, very conversational, and that's my personal preference. So I'm assuming that everyone on this call is currently an undergraduate. Is that correct? Okay, good. Good. So this will pertain to all of you guys. All right. Okay. So okay. You guys can see slide 2, industry demand.
Yes.
I can see it in the top, like, oh, now I can see it.
Yes.
Okay. Next. My first time presenting on a WebEx, so bear with me. Okay, so who are we? So actually, my favorite thing about the MSFRM program, for those of you who don't know, the students on this call, I've been working with the program essentially since inception, and it used to be like just 2 people. We've grown our staff. The first class was around like 36 students. Now we typically, on a typical year, barring COVID, we usually take in at least 200 students, and we split them into different cohorts. So it's been an amazing experience to watch this program grow. I'll be honest with everyone here, I was not expecting to still be working at the same place with the same program for so long. And part of the reason I am is that this program continually is changing and growing. So it makes my job more exciting. And what it does for students is it makes sure that everything that you're learning is current and applicable. Because we are constantly reevaluating and changing our curriculum and updating our workshops. The reason we do that is because this program was built due to industry demand. So you're going to hear us say practical experience, experiential learning requirements so many times. And we have to, because it is the reason that this program exists. So in 2008 and 2009, we had the financial recession. It was a crisis. And essentially, UConn looked within itself and said, well, what can we do to better prepare our students for something like this if it happens again? And not really if it happens again, right? When it happens again. And people are kind of predicting another recession already around the corner. So what they did was they went to the finance department head, our faculty, and they brought in industry executives that became our board of advisors that basically sat around a table and discussed, this is what my employees needed to have known. And this is the skill set that I would want people sitting at the table with me when I was going through this at my company. This is what they need to be able to do. And those are discussions created our curriculum, right? So we still meet with our board of advisors. We actually have a meeting with them next Monday. And they will tell us again, no one's using MATLAB anymore. Everyone's using Python, and we will change our curriculum. So due to that there's a kind of, I guess you could say, fun, more work, but also fun in the role that I have, and it makes sure that students are graduate with what the industry is looking for. So we are looking at job descriptions, and we are making sure that what they're asking for, our students will have. So our program started in 2010. Its 10th anniversary, I suppose, is this year. So we'll have a few virtual celebrations and hope to get together with all of our alumni soon. And as I said, we've grown in size and scope since then. So any questions on the program, just kind of like how it began, before I move into staff and faculty? Okay. Okay, so one thing that I like to note to students is, I suppose you might not see it as that important, but the Department Head of Finance, Chinmoy Ghosh, created this program. It's a good thing if the finance faculty lead, if the head of the finance department feels very passionate about your program. So he teaches in our program, he spends a lot of time with us, and it just means that there's more personal attention to our students, and we're able to make changes quickly because we have full support. Also on staff, we have Michelle Roccatamavo. You might recognize some of the faculty names, Michelle being one of them, as they come up because you might have had them as an undergraduate, maybe not, but he is our academic director. We have an international program manager, Jaja Chen. I don't know if anyone here is an international student or not, but if you are, very importantly, this program is STEM designated, which means you would get the 3 years OPT rather than just 1 year after you graduate. We have Sherry, our admissions guru, our admissions manager, and of course, Jason and Annie on our career side. And Jason will get into this, but our career staff only focuses on risk management students. So they're not generalized career staff and corporate outreach specialists. They are financial risk management, career specialists, and corporate outreach specialists. So our faculty consists of Fan Yang, and again, let me know if you know any of these professors. Fan Yang, Yakov Kokolyovich, Heng Bai. This is just sort of did someone unmute? Okay. This is just sort of a way for you guys to kind of see their careers and their educational background, so you have an understanding of kind of the esteemed faculty that work within our program. Second semester and fourth semester, we have additional faculty, and it also is telling you what they will teach. So we have 3 risk management courses, equity markets, fixed income, and credit risk management. So those 3 teach our financial risk management sections. Okay, so on top of faculty, as we said, we have a lot of professionals that teach in our classroom. So we have 3 seminar courses that are taught by various professionals in the classroom. And then a few classes like our legal class, which is taught by Brian Farnan, who is a state representative and is currently working for Connecticut Green Bank. So it's just sort of, again, giving you an idea of the caliber of professional that teaches in the classroom. This is our board of advisors. They represent a variety of different industries within risk management. One works for a hedge fund, healthcare and insurance is represented. So we try to get a broad scope of representatives who can advise our program. Any questions so far? Okay. So we have 3 risk modeling courses in the program. Risk modeling courses focus on the way it's been described. Student, Neil or Kahan can jump in, use their end. If you compare financial modeling to, I suppose, driving a car, financial engineering will teach you how to build a car, your own brand new car. You will learn how to build a car from scratch, and it will be custom and yours. Whereas what we do in our program is we teach you about all of the cars/models out there and what they're good at and what they might miss. So that when you're using that model or that car, you'll know, all right, this is good at turns, but it doesn't drive well in the snow. So if I use this model, here's what I need to look out for to mitigate risk, right? So that's what you're going to be learning in the risk modeling courses. And there's a lot of programming that goes into it as well. There's 3 risk management courses, fixed income, equity markets, and credit risk. And then again, we have our 4 seminar courses, and they're taught by a variety of professionals, and you just saw some of their names who come into the classroom. The reason we have such a variety of professionals is that we want you to get an understanding of, here's what an insurance company feels about risk management versus what a hedge fund, as you can imagine, that would be very different. Here's what a regulatory agency feels about risk. So you're going to get that breadth so that you can understand how different industries feel and look at and manage their own risk. On top of that, we have a capstone course. And our capstone course is somewhat like a placeholder just because we change our curriculum on an annual basis. So Capstone used to teach like MATLAB, but now we've worked MATLAB into our curriculum. So now it focuses more on modeling again. It's only 5 or 6 sessions to really just make sure anything that we feel the industry needs and is up and coming, we can fill in. But within the capstone project, our capstone course is a capstone project. And it runs like a consulting job, and I'll be going into a little bit further detail with that. On top of that, we have a concentration in quantitative methods in risk management. If you are a 4+1 student, that would mean that you graduate in summer, and then you would have a break for fall, and then come back in the spring for the 5th semester if interested. It focuses on modeling. So programming and modeling. We are seeing companies kind of marry those two things together more and more closely. It's kind of the easier way to do modeling is to use programming. So that is what that entire semester focuses on. So how does this FRM degree different than a finance degree? Khan, do you want to talk a little bit about what you think the difference is between your undergraduate degree and this FRM degree?
Yeah, definitely. So, like, I was a finance major at UConn as well, and then I decided to do MSFRM. So basically, finance introduces all the concepts. They introduce a lot of things, but they give you like a general knowledge of the finance world. But this is much more quantitative. So, if you are good with numbers, or if you're not, this will give you very in-depth knowledge of how everything is evaluated. Like I knew basic knowledge of how a bond was calculated, but after this, I know like all the different kinds of bonds that have been evaluated, how they can be calculated, and how we can use to mitigate the risk. So in terms of like the difference, it's huge. So it's basically like just getting an undergrad degree and then working. It's basically equivalent of 2 years of experience in a corporate world where you're working constantly on the more quantitative approach. So so if you decide to do this, this will be like great improvement on the finance degree.
Thanks. Yeah, so I know that. Is someone else was, no, sorry, there's an echo. I thought I was hearing someone else. Yeah, so I think that UConn as an undergraduate, you have a lot of opportunities for practical application, and that will continue during this program should you join. So we have our capstone project in our experiential learning requirement. And then on top of that, as programming becomes more and more important in risk management, we have workshops that are optional for you guys that you can take throughout your time in the program. And you can also, if you really want to specialize, take our 5th semester. Okay. So program highlights. If you are interested in finance or risk management, we personally, like my view is this is a no-brainer. It's 1 year and you get your master's. You know, average starting salary is 94K versus 64 if with just an undergraduate degree. you get a master's, a specialized master's, which is important in the industry, from a Research One institution. There are 2 graduate courses that are waived, so that's less cost as well. You don't need to take any additional courses as an undergraduate. You get the additional programming languages and workshops. We have scholarships available, and not only that, but you don't just spend that 1 year learning in the classroom. You spend that 1 year with access to our career services specialists who are working only with our students and are going to help you not just revamp your resume, deep with you and try to figure out how they can set you up for success with interview prep and connecting with our alum. So there's a lot of advantages. I think it's a no-brainer. I think maybe we can have, I'm sure Jason will speak to it as well, but if anyone else wants to jump in as kind of what they think the advantages are of the 4+1 program, please do.
Well, Larissa, you also waived the entrance exam, is that correct?
We do. So for certain, for UConn students who have certain majors, so School of Business, Economics, or like mathematics, with above a 3.0, the GMAT or GRE is waived. Yeah, that actually, I forget about those pesky entrance exams.
That's big because, a lot of times you have to study for that at least 6 months to a year before you can even take the exam. So right there, you save a year of your time.
Okay, so as we mentioned, professionals in the classroom is one of a massive part of our curriculum, as is our programming workshops, which are optional. So we have workshops on algorithms, Excel VBA, FinTech, MATLAB, Python, Bloomberg. You actually will get Bloomberg certified if you take our 5310 course. So if you're not already, that's part of the program as well. And again, these are free of cost. These are just things that we think that our students need to know. So it's a service that we offer. It will be scheduled by our program, which is cohort based. So we'll schedule it when we know that you're available, and it's optional. So I spoke a lot about our capstone course, but what is our capstone project? So our capstone project is essentially a consulting job. I was joking about the one that was with the state of Connecticut and their pension fund, but we actually go to a host of various companies and the state of Connecticut and ask and get projects from them. So the program will do this. So students will work on a team of around 7 students. There'll be a student lead and a faculty lead. And it's up to you guys to set toll gates with the company and to set deadlines, help them solve whatever challenge that they're facing, and then you present to them at the end of 1 or 2 semesters. So exactly as if you're on a consulting team and you get this information and you need to work together and then present at the end of a semester or 2. So I don't know if Kahan or Sahil will talk about what they like to talk about, what they did on their capstone project.
So yeah, capstone project was one of the like one of the greatest learning opportunity in this program, because not only we had to deal with the project itself, but it was, as the COVID was setting in, the project we had was in hand. So there was like a lot of communication lag because some people were not in the same time zones, and there was like a lot of difficulty setting up the meetings. And so after all that, you have to work with your team. You have to identify the strengths. You have to do like a lot of modeling, a lot of research, and that was like working on the real projects in a high stress situation. That will give you like the actual feel of a real job if you take your capstone project seriously. It was like, for me, it was I got a very good team, and we used to work together. Like, it was really hard setting up the meetings with the professor, with the faculty, with everyone. So overall, like, the practical application of that capstone was, and I think I'm still using that because I'm working in a team. So basically, I'm still using that experience in my job.
Hi, Larissa. Hi, everyone. This is Sahil. I'm sorry I'm having some issues with my Wi-Fi. Yeah, I'm currently in my second year of my master's in the FRM program. And talking about my capstone project, it was quite interesting. It was under the guidance of Professor Yako, who will be taking risk modeling 1 in the first semester. So the project was about seeing if news would positively or negatively affect the stock price. We did some sensitivity analysis using R and Python as well. What we did was we took news articles from websites like Reddit, and we did sensitivity analysis on that, and to see if a news is positive, neutral, or negative for a stock price, and see how much return would it give in the future. Yeah, it was quite interesting, and the company Alexandria and Discipline Alpha, they had other seminars which were really helpful for us to look for a job in the future. Yeah.
So yeah, capstone projects are usually start spring or summer, and they go for around like 1.5 semesters, present at the end of summer. And I think they're a great experience, and they're graded as part of our capstone course. And our capstone course is only usually 5 sessions. So. Okay, so on top of the capstone course and the professionals that will be in the classroom, we also have an experiential learning requirement, and it is a requirement. So you do have to take all of the courses, do the capstone project, and also fulfill this experiential learning requirement. It's just a sort of another way to make sure that when students graduate, you guys are not only hopefully going to find a job, but when you land one, it's like you can hit the ground running, right? You're going to have a lot of this experience. So one of the ways to complete the experiential learning requirement is to do a competition. You can do any risk management competition. We personally sponsor a few of them that you'll see on the top of the slide, meaning if there's any travel or any cost involved, we'll cover the cost. Yakov Kapoliovich also oversees the competitions. So if you're in the program and you're interested, you would talk to him. And I don't know if Sayal or Kahan, if you guys did a competition, but have you? Did either of you do a competition?
Yeah, I was in the Southeast Hedge Fund competition. So basically, we were 4 students were selected from the Hartford, 4 students were selected from the Stanford, and we had to present like one of the cases and compete with different universities. Basically, we had to come up with a hedge fund strategy which is different and write a whole report on it, covering every single detail. So, yeah, basically, we submitted our proposal, and it was like a very good research opportunity, and it allows you to be innovative, and yeah, so like again, a very good competition because I always wanted to work for a hedge fund, so it was again great opportunity, and the competition was pretty good.
Yeah, I think luckily we've had a lot of success in competitions. We came in, I think, 3rd place overall at McGill the last year. Crimea, we do really well. And if you talk to students that do these competitions, it tends to be their favorite part of the program. So again, if you decide to join the program and you're admitted and you're interested in any of those competitions, or you find one on your own, you can still do that and it will qualify for ELR. If we can do something with regards to funding, we will, but these are the ones that we have historically funded. Of course, another way to fulfill the experiential learning requirement is to complete an internship. In addition, if you are during your time in the program, you get a job and you're working in financial risk management field, that would also count. And the third way to fulfill it is student managed fund. And I think everyone here is familiar with student managed fund. So we have a team that works at a Stanford and a team that works at a Hartford in the GBLC, the Graduate Business Learning Center. And usually the team is majority FRM students. So you'll have an opportunity, if you don't do it as an undergraduate, to do it as a MSFRM student. You would have to take the 5th semester though, because it needs that additional year, or additional semester. So one of my other favorite things about this program is our cohort basis. So you guys actually take the same classes together and you move through the program together, particularly as a 4+1 student, right? So you're able to really kind of develop these bonds with the 4+1 cohort, but also your other classmates that are going to be in the classes with you and are also moving through the program with you. So it's a great way to build your network, right? You know that everyone in the program has masters in financial risk. They come from all walks of life and they're going to go into the industry, and you're going to be doing a lot of projects with them in classes, group work, presentations. So you're just sort of making friends, getting to know your classmates, but also beginning to really build your network out in the industry, because it's not like, oh, well, maybe they'll do communications, right? They're all looking to work in the same field. Because we have this cohort basis and our students forming bonds with themselves and our program and our faculty and our staff, we have a really strong alumni network. And we're really proud of that as well. We often bring alumni back, to do info sessions, to just talk about their career. I know Jason will speak about a lot of what he does with alum as well. But we're really proud of developing those relationships, and that's just also an extended network for students as well. If you're an MSFRM student, you should not feel shy about reaching out to one of our alum. They often reach back and hire our students for either positions, mid or senior level positions, or entry level positions, depending on where they are in their career right now, or internships as well. So any questions about the program? Because we're going to speak about career next.
Larissa, just briefly on that note with alumni. So we have established an alumni database, and we know where, I think the number 72% of our alumni are working, and that's over this past 10 years. So we know where they're employed. So when we're working together, and you're interviewing at, we'll say, UBS, we'll talk about that, and we'll kind of go over, well, who do we know that are alumni from UBS, and we'll try to make that connection with you. So just wanted to piggyback off of that, what Larissa said. Our alumni are spectacular at giving back to our program.
Yeah, so Jason, that's a really great segue, because career services is next.
Look at that. All right.
I know, exactly. So I don't know if you want to continue to use these slides or not, but up to you.
Yeah, sure. If you want, you
Okay.
can just move along as, I guess you'll hear a pause or whatever. So one of the most interesting things about not just the FRM program, but the School of Business Specialized Master's Programs, you've heard it before, but it's true. We work directly for you. So I'm not working for BAPM. I'm not doing work for the MBA program. We share a bit. And we'll mingle with them. I'll host events on campus or virtual events where you'll get to know some BAPM students, for example, and we'll work together in that instance. But 95, 98% of the time, we're working directly for the FRM program only. So it's well beyond, all right, let me see your resume. Good, here's the changes, and let me give it back to you. Listen, we want to get to know you. We want to get to know your skills. We want to get to know what you want to do after graduation, what interests you, what doesn't interest you. We want to know your strengths as well as your weaknesses, primarily your weaknesses, so we can help you build upon that. All right. So a big question, what I get from new students, for example, is what's the current situation right now with COVID happening? What's been happening in the industry? So while it's true that the unemployment rate has been spiking since March, kind of leveled out a little bit. Upon not necessarily FRMs, but as a whole, graduates, there was a time during this pandemic that about 50% of all job offers to undergrads were rescinded. So just want to show to you a little bit the value of the FRM program. I reached out to our friends from Indeed yesterday to get some statistics from them. And I call them our friends because we do a lot of work with Indeed, directly with Indeed. Twice a year, in fact, they have an event with us, just the FRM program. It just happened last month, where 15 of their recruiters throughout the country donated their time, 2 hours of their time, and 50 of our students went one-on-one with Indeed recruiters. Not for a job at Indeed, but it's more to have another eye look at your resume and to ask interview questions and for you to ask them anything industry related or career related. So I think that was really, that's a great opportunity for our students. Twice a year, we get to do that. So pulling a little bit of the statistics from Indeed, within a 25-mile radius of Stanford, there were 212 risk-related job opportunities. So keep in mind risk. What is risk-related job opportunities? I mean, even though our program is financial risk management, you're learning a lot of different types of risk. So anything from insurance risk. Essentially, tell me if I'm wrong, but the models that you use work for a variety, and that you learned work for a variety of different types of risk modeling. It's just the data that you put into these models. There have been, in Stanford itself, 85 internal audit positions. Internal audit is another avenue that a lot of our students have been gravitating to in the past 2 years. We have on and on every year people getting hired at Goldman Sachs, Moody's, on and on for internal audit. Essentially, that's managing the internal risks of a large corporation. We were getting a lot of traction in internal audit. Another thing our students are going into is corporate finance as a whole. Right now, in the greater Stanford area, there are over 800 entry-level corporate finance roles. In terms of Python, there are 70 entry-level Python roles. Data analytics, so to be an entry-level data analyst, 75 entry-level positions in the Stanford area. What do you need to be a data analyst in terms of tech? Basically R, Python, and some SQL, all of which you have the ability to learn within our program. So while there has been a bit of a dip in terms of some employment with new grads, with a specialized degree, such as the FRM program allows, you can see these types of opportunities that are still out there for you right now. I mean, these are live numbers right from Indeed. My biggest thing with the FRM program, the biggest draw that I think for students is the amount of jobs that you're actually qualified after graduating. So what are we doing for you now that campus has been closed and we're all kind of remote? The first week we were remote, Andy and I came up with a virtual program, and we had this going within 7 days. We have a lot of business contacts with some great name companies and some companies you've never heard of before. We have partnerships with hedge fund companies that are managing upwards of $15 to $20 billion that you've probably never even heard of before. So we called upon these companies and we talked to the risk managers, VPs of risk, and asked them if they'd be willing to have one-on-one conversations with our students or small group conversations with our students. The point here is to help a student with, again, yes, their resumes, get another eye on their resumes. interview questions. What's going on in their current industry? What's going on in a particular investment firm, and how are they preparing for this whole transition of what's going on, and how did their company prepare to go to remote? What types of is the average risk that they're managing and then they're looking out for? So these types of events are happening at least 3 times a week, and they've been going on at least 3 times a week since March. And it's an opportunity for you to register, an FRM student to register to it. And we put you on this list, and this list continually goes and continually goes. And when it's your turn, again, you get to talk to whoever's up. It could be the VP at Goldman Sachs. It could be at BlackRock. It could be at IBM. But you're getting some very important knowledge from each of these conversations. But beyond that, you now have a connection that you're going to stay in touch with. And these are not just FRM alumni here that we're talking about. These are people who went different avenues and became a VP of risk, willing to share their experiences with you. I tend to tell the students and ask the students to remember this. When they graduate and they become big successes, remember to give back to communities and give back to universities, just as they get from so many other professionals. We have normal office hours. So every day there's at least 4 hours of normal office hours where you can either just pop in or you can make an appointment and we can cover any type of topic that you would want to cover. We research and continually research with partners such as Indeed of what are the hot areas right now this month that we should reach out to and share those leads with our students and where they should start applying for positions or internships. We continually help with interview preparation. I think this is probably one of the most important aspects of what we do beyond providing opportunities for you. It takes a tremendous amount of work to actually get an interview. I'm talking beyond 100 resumes and job applications you'll be applying to for you to get one interview. That's a true statistic. So do you want to just go into this interview somewhat prepared, or do you want to be fully prepared? And this is something I can't stress enough, is to prepare for this interview in a manner that you are so comfortable going into this interview that you do not have that stress that would come along with it. All right, so that's a big piece of what we do. We'll practice interviewing as many times as you're comfortable, all right, with different techniques, teach you how to sell your strengths, which is really very difficult to do actually in an interview. Build up on your weaknesses and teach you how to answer behavioral style interview questions. We have ongoing presentations and workshops as well for groups of students. Anything from resume building, how to network. Networking is very important. In fact, I believe the statistic is 70% of people who receive a new job have some sort of contact within that company. There again, there's our alumni and the power of our network. So recruitment and networking events, we have a lot that's going on within the FRM program. So as of right now, we have on-campus recruiting events that go on for just the FRM students. Twice a year, Goldman Sachs, they come to campus. We have PwC, who now comes to campus twice a year. KPMG, only once, but we're working on them to come twice a year, and Credit Suisse. So they're coming here and giving a presentation to you. And Atlas Air, they just did it last month as well. So it varies on what they tend to do, but typically they'll come in and give a presentation. And then there's an opportunity to meet with some recruiters or people from their organization and meet with them on a one-to-one basis. And we often are able to set up some coffee chat types of interviews as well while they're here on campus or virtually, right? So this is still going on virtually. We have a lot of social and networking events and a lot of guest speakers from hedge funds like Graham Capital Management, Young American Capital, Marsh, Aon, PepsiCo, Point72. It's kind of countless. So what happens on these types of events is Somebody from these organizations will take the VP of risk of Graham Capital Management, a hedge fund responsible for, I believe, $20 billion in assets under management. Not huge, but still pretty substantial. So he does a chat probably once a quarter for students and kind of updates them on what's been new in terms of managing risk. They have a system that runs something like 30,000 different scenarios on a nightly basis of what risks can be managed or potentially need to be looked out for today, for tomorrow. So his risk team, they meet every morning and they go over the top 100 or so types of events in areas of risk they need to manage. And he'll tell you a little bit about what it takes to do that. And it's beyond financial models. It's beyond that. It's the personal skills involved. So imagine being the risk manager, and now you have to tell the traders that their particular sector is about to tank, and here's why, here's the reason behind it, and try to sell them on that idea of hedging their current investments into a different area. And he said that's one of the hardest parts of being within the risk management area. That's something I never would have thought about. And most students, you won't learn that in your classroom. But these social and networking events, these are the type of things that you're going to learn about on a regular basis. In terms of placement statistics, so we're going to go off the 2019 statistics because we don't fully have the 2020 statistics yet. We won't have those until probably February or so. But some key things here, and I'll talk about some things that aren't on here yet. In terms of internships, domestic students are at 72% of our domestic students within the FRM program receive an internship. I believe for 2020, that number is going to be substantially higher as we've got some really good partnerships with some investment banking firms who are bringing on 3 to 5 students at a time and then kind of pivoting them out after 3 or 4 months and then bringing 3 or 4 more back in. So that number for the domestic students is going to be higher for 2020. All in all, it's more about 45% of our students receive an internship. But I want to explain that number. That's because a lot of our international students don't want an internship, primarily in the summer. They want to take some time and travel and see the country. So from the domestic side, that number for our internships, we're pretty happy with, and that number is going up every year. Students graduating within the first 3 months of graduation, close to 90%. Again, this number is going up each and every year. Okay. Students participating in a career services event, we're almost at 100%. I want to get to that number of 100%. Well, this is great and makes me very happy because it shows to me that students are really seeing the value in the services that we provide for you. All right. It's really pretty customized for the FRM program. 55% of our students are placed here in the United States. And we do have partnerships in different areas of the country. If you want to get a job in China, we have several companies that we work with directly in China for our FRM program. Next, I'd like to talk a little bit about the following skills that have been most requested. And again, this is from Indeed, Indeed statistics. This is going on from March. So some of the most skills that are asked for in job postings. The number one, look at risk management. Again, risk management covers a lot. And some of that would be within corporate risk, some of that is within internal audit, but that's covering a broad base, right? But look at those job opportunities, how that has really spiked since March. Then economics, risk assessment, credit risk, market risk, SQL, Python, internal audit. If you go down this list, short of it, software as a service, short of that, you are really getting to know each and every one of these skills in our program. Again, I'm keying on here the vast amount of opportunities that you're going to learn in the short amount of time in the 4+1 program. Career opportunities. So there's 2 of our alumni that come to mind that you would think that how does somebody get this type of a job? So here's one. We have an alumni that manages the risk of nuclear power plants in the country. So it's not just really the financial risk of these nuclear power plants. This individual is managing, all right, so if a hurricane is coming up the coast, we need to shut these plants down. Let's figure out, where are we going to get that additional energy from? If some need to be shut down for maintenance, where are we going to get that additional energy from? Is it better off to run this facility at 80% or two at 40%? So all kinds of the financial, the physical, and the internal risk of nuclear power plants. We have another one who manages the insurance risk for the New York Jets. So that's the QB's, the quarterback's contract risk. What if he gets injured? What if a fan gets injured and falls down the stairs? Should we pay it? Should we put in the risk? Should we have policy? How much should we actually cover when the team is traveling? So just think of that. Those are jobs out there that you would be prepared for and qualified for. We have students working and alumni working in virtually every industry you can think of. Finance. Look at all the opportunities out there in finance. Healthcare. Insurance. 33% of our alumni are working somehow managing risk within the insurance industry. From a risk associate, wealth manager, credit risk, and underwriting, believe it or not. A lot of the high-end people working within risk in an insurance company, so the VPs of risk, for example, they began their careers as an underwriter, managing small amounts of risk. And then again, within technology. All of these, again, is something that you'd be prepared for, okay? Placements in the US, they're on, and we continue to get students placed at a variety of different areas. Moody's Analytics has been really large lately. Goldman Sachs, I believe we have something around 18 students currently now working within Goldman Sachs. We have students at Bridgewater, Gartner, FactSet, SS&C, PwC, and IBM. Those are more companies that are really taking off in terms of hiring our students. I think the key is, we have been a relatively new program, but as our students are getting out there in the workforce and they see, the hiring managers are seeing that our students are outperforming those of rival universities, they are tending to come to us now, and they're coming to myself and they're coming to Annie and saying, hey, so-and-so is working out so well, can you please find me somebody else to take up another position? This just happened to me yesterday with a company for an internship. This individual, Stephen Bookbinder, said this is the third FRM student that he's had, and he's been so happy for it, and he asked me to provide him with some more students from to pick from. So I hope this shows a little bit about what our career services team will do for you as an FRM student. We get involved, right? We do a lot more than just look at your resume and good luck to you and see you at the end. We're here for you all along your career. For your second job, you want to practice interviewing? Let's do it. You want to learn how to negotiate your salary? You want to learn how to ask for a raise? Let's do it. We'll be here for you well beyond your graduation date. Okay. Any questions, please? Let me know.
Yeah, I have a question.
Program.
So do some graduates not go into specifically the risk management department, but go into other areas of corporations, but having that knowledge and background just helps them exponentially?
Without a doubt. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, even within corporate finance, when you touch certain areas of corporate finance, you are managing risk, right? But so somebody who doesn't have that background has to learn that on the fly, on the job. So let's take example, if you're working corporate finance and you have to see if this particular project that the IT department, for example, wants to do, is it worth it? Are you going to approve that project or not? And there's a little bit of risk you have to manage there and figure out. So 100% absolutely having that financial risk management will help you.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
I just had a quick question about the career opportunities.
Okay.
So, just out of curiosity, what would you say is the highest paying career opportunity after getting an MSFRM? Would it be quantitative analysis? Like from your experience, what have you seen?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That would be it. It would be in the quant space within an investment firm, primarily a hedge fund. That's the top grossing salary that we have. Corporate finance is a little bit lower because a couple of things. If you're working within a hedge fund in the quant space, your work-life balance is low. Okay, so you're working a lot. Your stress is a lot. The level of intensity is a lot higher than working within a corporate finance job. So it really depends on what you're looking for. And when you hear some of the speakers that we have talk about when they come in from the corporate finance world, and then we have the speakers who come in from a hedge fund, for example, it's going to give you the flavor of what their work-life balance is like. And the people who are in the hedge fund side, they're going to tell you you need thick skin. It's a different working environment than corporate for the most part, but you're going to get a feel of it. So yeah, to answer your question, it was simply the biggest grossing salary is within quant within a hedge fund.
And just one more question: how would you compare investment banking to that?
It's very similar. It's very similar, but from what I've gathered from our speakers is that the pressure is a little less. There's a little more work-life balance, and it's a little bit more regulated in terms of corporate. So I'm not going to get into the examples of what some of the individuals have said to us. I just don't know if it's appropriate for this conversation right now. But think about investment banking at a company like Goldman Sachs. Okay, it's more regulated in terms of what you can and you can't do, what you can say, what you can't say, and how you act, and it's more professional in some degree, if that makes sense. But the pay can get there as well. It can get to the same level.
Thank you, Jason. That was a really helpful answer.
Okay, you're welcome. Anybody else? Okay, if you have questions after this, I'll type my email in the chat box here for everybody. And if you want to reach out to me anytime, just feel free to send me a message, okay?
All right. Thanks very much. I'm actually going to move really quickly through the next set of slides. It's just on program logistics and admission so that you guys can do Q&A with Jason and Kahan. I think that that's probably more aligned with your interests or the questions that you need answered at this point, at this stage. And just to reiterate, we are getting more and more clusters at certain companies to the point where I'll reach back to certain alum and they'll be joking that another one of their old classmates is working with them now.
Great.
Yeah, it's so funny. And these are alum that have graduated in like 2016, right? And their companies are still seeing their value and just reaching back and grabbing more of the students. So it's a lot of fun to hear about. Okay. Program logistics. So the 4+1 program, again, it's 3 semesters and you're done. There's 3 courses in fall. You will see that the 3rd course in fall is Finance 5341. That's usually done your 2nd semester, or sorry, your 2nd fall semester, so your 4th semester. However, it's called Financial Management 3, but it's really Financial Management Credit Risk. So it's just focusing on credit risk. So you're going to be able to take that course along with the rest of the classmates, and you won't be behind. Spring is a typical spring semester, again, 3 courses. And then in summer, you have our 3 summer courses, but we'll add the capstone course So you'll have 4 courses in summer, and that's where you'll take the 5 sessions, and by the end of summer, you'll have presented the capstone project. So it's 30 credits. It's currently 1,425 per credit for the 4+1 program. We do have scholarships available, and that will get into our application process. We do have scholarships available. They're fully merit-based, and they're from the FRM department, meaning that it's not UConn that's giving out the scholarship, it's our program that gives out the scholarship. So we look at every single application. If you request a scholarship, the person that you would request a scholarship to is Sherry Dondero, and I'll actually write her email in the chat too. She's our admissions coordinator, and she assists with our scholarships as well. So scholarships are fully merit-based. You apply, you email her, you say you're interested in one, and your information from your application goes into a matrix. And if you qualify for a scholarship, you will receive one until our funds run out, right? Because we don't have unlimited funds in our program. So just something to think about if you are planning on applying to the program and you know it's something you want to do, you think you qualify for a scholarship, apply earlier rather than later. So typically our students apply for a semester of their senior year. You would need to apply while you're still a student to qualify for 4+1. So before you graduate. 3.0 GPA. If you have a UConn business, STEM, or other related major, which would be econ essentially, your GMAT or GRE would be waived. So as Marlis was highlighting, that's a great advantage. And that specifically is only for our UConn alum and our 4+1 students. So we have higher qualifications to waive GMAT for everyone else. And again, 12 months. You can choose to stay on for the optional quantitative methods semester, which would be spring. But if you stick to the traditional 4+1 program, fall, spring, summer, and you have your master's in financial risk management. I will share the link to apply. If anyone is interested in applying, email Sherry again, because your application fee will be waived because you attended this session. So you don't have to pay the application fee either. So I'm going to end the slideshow and just kind of open it to questions. If you guys, maybe Kahan, you want to talk about a little bit about why you, what your favorite part of the program was, and hopefully we'll get some student questions kind of roll in from there.
So like my favorite part of the program should be the extracurriculars, like the competition, the capstone project. Also during the program, I also joined like a Toastmasters club to improve public speaking. So apart from attending the classes, and these were all the extracurriculars that I was involved in, was very helpful in forming, as Jason was mentioning, that not knowing the only of it, you need to explain it to people how, and those skills are developed by being present and being and you have to attend like the extracurriculars in order to develop these skills. So overall, the even like the one of my favorite part about this program was the professors as well. They used to ask me, like they used to ask everyone that the content of the program was good or not. If we wanted anything to be added in the program, in the course, they would be very happy to add it. So like the constant the way they were asking, and the way they cared about this showed like how they actually wanted us to learn and not just like get good grades. So I think that should be that should sum up all my experience of the program.
I just would like to comment, I can't say enough about the 4+1 program, honestly. You know, salary wise, just grounding you so much. I have just seen all of the examples of the SMF teams And our teams are so outstanding because not only do they do the investment, but they bring in the dimension of risk management into it. We just had a presentation last week, and the risk management angle adds so much to their depth of the understanding of their investments. Also, we have the CFA Research Challenge team, and on the team this year are all MSFRM students that are in, I think most of them are in the 4+1 program. A couple of them already have jobs, and they're still in the risk management program. So it doesn't mean that you can't get a job and join the risk management program, but the CFA is also an additional certification a lot of the FRMs get. And again, this has only been offered, what, Larissa, 2 years, or Jason, 2 years? So it's relatively new, and this opportunity to you is just fabulous. I mean, you really can't pass this up.
Yeah, so I'm going to leave it open to questions. I mean, if you have Kahan here, I would suggest if you are interested, peppering him with a few questions just to see what it's really like in the program, because it's a great opportunity to have someone that was so recently in the program, just went through it, just graduated, has the same type of degree as you have from UConn, with that similar background. So if you guys have questions for him, now is definitely the time. Khan, did you have a favorite class?
Yeah, so my favorite class was because I'm into investing. I just recently developed that. So that would be equity markets. That would be my favorite class because we learned a lot of modeling. The professor showed us how to create models, and based on that, I have created my own models. So that was, for me, that was very interesting because even as I told you, even the professor was great, and he used to ask me, and he used to guide me even if I had any questions. So yeah, for me, the equity markets class was my personal favorite.
Hi everyone, hi Mollis. This is Cam. Can you hear me? In terms of so I know the program places more emphasis on the quantitative side, but especially with for those who coming from the 4+1, we took only one course of calculus. So question for Khan or Sahil, do you find any difficulty in terms of the math within the class?
Hey Kim, this is Sahil. Can you hear?
Yes.
Yeah, I think FRM program has some introductory courses offered by Professor Yakov, where you can take a recap of what you'll be studying and about the calculus and everything. So it shouldn't be that hard. Also, the programming, which the quantitative things we do in the FRM program are not that hard compared to full-fledged quantitative programming and everything. Yeah, so I don't think it should be that hard for you.
Got it.
So the workshops that we offer will help you in the class, but the workshops are never going to be, the full concentration in quantitative methods and risk management that we have as what we call the 5th semester. So all of that's you'll get it in class, you'll get the additional workshops, and they'll both help one another. So you'll have an understanding. But as he said, we assume you have no knowledge of programming when you come into the program, none. So if you really are finding that you really enjoy that modeling and that programming, that's when the 5th semester might be for you, and you'll see a lot of other quantitative career opportunities open up if you choose to do the 5th semester, or you just have a natural ability for programming. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question. So I know in the MS-BAPM 4+1, you're able to take some graduate level courses as an undergraduate. Is that a possibility for the MSFRM 4+1, or will it be in the future?
It's not. But I think what BAPM does is it's actually a prerequisite. So you have to take that course and you have to get a certain grade or you can't get into the BAPM program. Whereas this is more traditional 4+1. So you just do your undergraduate degree. We look at those transcripts. There's no prereq other than calculus, which sometimes, students have taken in high school to get into our program. So there's not like that feeder course, essentially. So it's just set up differently, but still only a year.
Thank you.
Okay. If there's no more questions, you guys have, I think, all of my email address, Sherry, who runs admissions, Jason's email address. You should feel free to reach out to us at any time with any questions that you have. I mean, as Jason mentioned, we work with our students, but we also work with our alum. We're always in contact with them. And we also always work with our prospective students. So it would not be odd for you guys to contact us with questions and for us to answer them. We would love to hear from you. So thank you for having us. And if you do have any further questions, of course, reach out. And we appreciate your time. So
Yep.
have a great day. Have a great evening.
Thank you for
Hope to
coming,
hear from you
Larissa.
guys.
Jason.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
All right, bye.
Bye.